You're listening to The Wells Report, which will return in 1 minute. The Wells Report returns in 30 seconds. North to south, coast to coast, around the world. This is the Wells Report. North to south, coast to coast, around the world. This is the Wells Report. Good afternoon. I'm John David Wells. Welcome to the broadcast on this radio or podcast broadcast, which makes no sense at all. We report the news, which does make sense because we do it honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We point out both. We de-propagandize the mainstream media. We do make commentary. Commentary is not news. Commentary is opinion. It means that you can tell me what you think. I can tell you what I think. Our commentary, our opinions are of equal value. So let's compare them. News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Thanks very much for joining us. It is a very, very sad and somber day today. It happened again. At least 4 people are dead. A 14-year-old boy is in custody after opening fire at a high school in north central Georgia. That put the building into lockdown, according to authorities. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation confirmed 4 people died at Appalachia High School in Barrow County, Georgia, approximately 40 miles northeast of Atlanta. 9 others were taken to various hospitals with gunshot wounds. The suspect is alive and is in custody. There was a news conference that happened approximately 2 hours ago. 2 hours ago. And what we want to do is we want to bring that to you in its entirety. So that's what we are going to do here on the Wells Report. These were various people of various law enforcement backgrounds giving us all the news. And you can take a look at this, and it is graphic, and it is something that you should consider using some discretion in viewing. Here we go.
Good afternoon. I am Chris Hosen, Director of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. And we wanted to come back this afternoon and present you with a little more of a timeline of the events that have taken place here today. And that's what we know up to this point with the investigation. At approximately 10:20 a.m. this morning, the Barrow County Sheriff's Office received alerts about reports of an active shooter and radio traffic from school resource officers concerning the same concern, or having the same concern. Within minutes, law enforcement was on scene, as well as 2 school resource officers assigned here to the school, who immediately encountered the subject within just minutes of this report going out. Once they encountered the subject immediately surrendered to these officers, and he was taken into custody. Additionally, what I want you to know as of now, there are 4 individuals who are deceased from this incident, 9 that have been taken to local hospitals with various injuries. Of those that are deceased, 2 are students and 2 are teachers here at the school. The priority right now for us within this investigation is to gather all the facts, to make sure that we're accurate with it, because this is a murder investigation. As the sheriff mentioned earlier this morning, the shooter is in custody. His name is Colt, that's C-O-L-T, Gray. He is a 14-year-old student. here at the school, Gray. He is a 14-year-old student here at the high school. Again, he has been taken into custody. He will be charged with murder, and he will be tried as an adult and handled as an adult. We're coordinating these charges and obviously this investigation with District Attorney Brad Smith, who is the District Attorney for the Piedmont Judicial Circuit here. Since early this morning we talked with you, and since the incident occurred, numerous interviews have been taking place through our investigation with students, faculty, as well as any other witnesses that we could identify. Law enforcement had a very, very swift response to this incident once the incident was determined that there was a concern here. Those resources, whether it was in that response or throughout this investigation to assist, came obviously from the sheriff's office here, from other local law enforcement agencies, state law enforcement agencies, and the federal law enforcement agencies as well. To include, not to be left out, multiple EMS personnel, multiple fire personnel, and agencies. Those agencies responded here as well today, and I am extremely grateful, as I know the sheriff is, for that quick response and the partnerships of working here together with what all has gone on. Currently, from the investigative perspective, we have crime scene agents and other special agents from the GBI, from close to a dozen of our different work units from across the state that have responded here today to work on this investigation, again, collecting evidence, conducting interviews, and so forth. I do want to pass this along, that if anyone has any information that wants to be passed on concerning this investigation, that they can do that anonymously at our tip line at 1-800-597-TIPS or 1-800-597-8477. They can also report this on by downloading the See Something, Send Something app. That can be done by Android or Apple phones, either one. If they need to report any tips concerning this investigation. Let me close out before I turn this over to the sheriff and just remind you that this is still a very active investigation. There is still a lot that is very fluid. There's still a lot of interviews to be conducted that will continue on into the night, as well as crime scene work and collecting and gathering evidence. But what is more important for me to mention here to you is my heartfelt sympathy to the parents, the students that were here today. Regardless of where they were in the school, this has got a great impact on them as well as on this community. My thoughts and prayers, along with everybody standing behind me and every law enforcement agency in this state, and many I will tell you around this country, they are in our thoughts and prayers, and we will continue with that. We ask for your patience as we continue through this, and we'll continue to try to give you as many updates with information as we can to keep you informed. But thank you for being here. I'm now going to turn it over to Bexar County Sheriff Judd Smith. Thank you.
Director, would you spell your name, please?
Hosey.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Sheriff Judd Smith of the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. I never imagined that I would be speaking to the media in my career over something that happened today, the pure evil that happened today. I cannot thank the people behind me for the support they give me today, to give this office and give this staff. This hits home for me. I was born and raised here. I went to school in this school system. My kids go to this school system. I'm proud of this school system. My heart hurts for these kids. My heart hurts for our community. But I want to make it very clear that hate will not prevail in this county. I want that to be very clear and known. Love will prevail over what happened today. I assure you of that. It is very early as to what happened. Governor Kemp reached out to me and has provided me every single resource that he has to make sure justice prevails. I don't know why it happened. I may not ever know. We may not ever know. But I ask that you and our community lift up our schools, lift up our public safety, and that, again, we do not let this hateful event prevail as to what happened today. I want to thank the surrounding agencies and counties and cities and state and federal authorities that have come and provided us, because they prevented a lot of more tragic events from happening. Continue to lift up these families, continue to lift up our students and our kids, and know that love will prevail. At this time, I'm going to ask Dr. LaDuff, our school superintendent, to come and speak on behalf of the school.
Good afternoon. I'm Dallas LaDuff. I'm the superintendent of Bexar County School System. I want to thank the Bexar County Sheriff's Office and all of our law enforcement partners for their swift response today, along with that of our staff. I'd also like to thank our community for their response and patience as we work to reunify the students with their families here today and secure the rest of our school campuses. Our schools will be closed for the remainder of this week as we cooperate fully with law enforcement to get answers to the many questions that we all have about this incident here today. But as we are closed, our central offices will remain open, where we will have grief counseling available for our community every day this week and thereafter as we support each other through this terrible event. In closing, I just want to say to our community, as a school system, we are here for you, we support you, and we are ready to get you any support that you may need as we grieve through this together. Thank you.
Sheriff, if you're saying hate will not prevail in this community, are you investigating this as some sort of hate crime?
And shortly, if someone decides to take a firearm into a school where kids are given an education or entitled to an education and want to harm others, to me, it's hateful.
Sheriff, can you talk about the initial interaction between whoever was able to stop the shooter? Can you describe that to us? How did it go down? What exactly happened for us?
Obviously, the shooter was armed, and our school resource officer engaged him. And the shooter quickly realized that if he did not give up, that it would end with an OIS, or an officer-involved shooting. He gave up, got on the ground, and the deputy took him into custody.
Sheriff, any idea how the weapon got inside the school? And was there any warning that this was going to happen?
Not that I'm aware of. Again, very early, and we're still looking into that, whether or not, or how he obtained it and how he got it in the school.
Sure.
Have you been in touch at all with his parents or his family to learn more about what led up to these moments?
We have.
Any information you can share?
No.
What kind of weapon was
It seems like you have a large Hispanic population. Have you been able to communicate with the people in their language to make sure that everybody knows what's happening?
Yes, sir, I have. The school and our office has people that speak in Spanish, and they have spoke to those folks as well. Yes.
How is
Sheriff, is
available
the shooter
to share?
speaking with the law enforcement now?
Sorry.
Is the shooter talking? Is he saying why?
The shooter was interviewed, and he was speaking with our investigators earlier, along with the GBI.
How is
Sheriff, can you
video
identify-
surveillance? How's that helping you, Sheriff?
It is helping our investigation.
Can you say,
Sheriff,
Sheriff,
reports of threatening calls perhaps made to the school prior to the shooting. Is that accurate?
None that I'm aware of.
Were all 9 injured victims shot?
In some capacity, yes.
Sheriff, can you tell us about the 2 individuals deceased and was one targeted?
We don't know of any targets at this point.
Sheriff, what kind of weapon was used? Have you identified the weapon?
We have not identified that at this point. No.
All right, that was the presser from earlier, and there will be more information forthcoming, and we will watch it like a hawk. This is the Wells Report, back with more in a moment.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. A sad day in all of America, but especially in Winder, Georgia, which is slightly northeast of Atlanta. There was a school shooting today. 9 people are in the hospital. 2 teachers died and 2 students died, and we still don't know who they are. The suspect, we do know who that is. His name is Colt Gray. He is 14 years of age. No information on the weapon used so far. We're keeping our eyes. As a matter of fact, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation has an X site, and we are following that as we continue our coverage of this. And hopefully we'll be getting some more information soon. So far, the last thing they had was the news conference you just saw, and so we're keeping our eye on the story, and we'll let you know more about it as time goes by. The kids were obviously the most affected from a standpoint of what they had witnessed, what they'd heard about. They had comments today, and here are some of them as we continue our coverage of the Appalachia High School shooting in Winder, Georgia.
I heard it was like a planned shooting, but I don't know. I was in class and we heard shots. The teacher ran, slammed the door, made us all go in the corner. We heard like the teachers and everything in the hallways, the police. We heard like the shooting, and then we heard that they ran away. And then after a while, they came and took us out to the football field.
Walk me through what happened. I heard like 12, 15 different gunshots. It was like boom, boom, and then stopped like a good 2 seconds and started again. And then police came in, put the gun down, stopped, and then stopped after.
What did you guys do in the classroom?
We hid behind a brick wall.
No, I thought he was joking, actually. He sent me a text message and said that we're on lockdown. He was hiding in a room. And I said, if you're lying about this, dude, I swear to God. And I said, no, not lying. So I came rushing from Gwinnett County, parked my car probably a mile away, and literally ran to the school. And then they had all the kids in the football field and the bleachers and stuff. I couldn't find them. It was really hard. I wasn't sure if he was alive or not. But yeah, he's here, and I'm grateful.
You're emotional.
Yeah, I never really thought that this could happen at my son's school. My daughter just graduated from here last year. I got a middle schooler that's coming up, going to be going to this school. And yeah, you just don't think that it could happen to you.
God bless all those people in Winder, Georgia. That is a small town. I've been there myself. It's beautiful. It's picturesque. And it is shattered today by the ravings of a 14-year-old who will be tried as an adult. We don't know anything about the various mechanics of the shooting. We don't know what weapon was used. We don't know the identities of those who died, although one woman came forward to say her father was shot. In a public Facebook post that happened earlier today, a woman named Katie Phoenix explained her father, David Phoenix, had been shot at the school. We are so thankful for all the texts, calls, and messages about my dad, David Phoenix, the daughter wrote. There was a shooting this morning at Appalachia High School, and my dad was shot in the foot and the hip, shattering his hip bone. He arrived at the hospital alert and awake. He just got out of surgery. He is stable. We will update as we hear new information. We are so lucky, but please keep our family, as well as the AHS, Appalachia High School family, in your prayers. And indeed, we will do just that. So let's see. He did not take any questions, but hope to provide more information later in the afternoon. And both the President of the United States and the former President of the United States and the press secretary of the President of the United States all weighed in today. We will have some of that information for you as we continue full coverage on the Appalachia High School shooting in Winder, Georgia, as we unfold another tragedy in the United States. It's time for us to start protecting our kids. And that means that people who would teach them must also learn how to protect them. And that is something we will also discuss as we continue this afternoon. And of course, it's not a discussion unless you take part. 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. That's our telephone number. You can get to us on the chat room. Just go through the platform that you're watching and find us, and we'll be with you with more of the Wells Report in a moment.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
Hi there. I made a couple of texts on X today and ignited a firestorm over this story. And there's one I want to address to you that I just returned to. I just replied to, rather. And that's from a guy named Blue-Eyed Robot, or Blue Eyes Robot. He said, for whatever reason, based on one of my texts earlier to a news commentator, that blew this story. And I nailed him for it. And a lot of people misunderstood what I said, but he didn't. His name is Alex Cole. And Alex is a guy who, very much like Alex Jones, rushes forward without proper information, without following the rules of journalism that are in place based on getting the story right. And he ignored those rules. Very much like Alex, I foretold his billions of dollars in lawsuits that he has to pay, Alex Jones I'm talking about, because he played fast and loose with plain journalism ethics. And Alex Cole is going down that same road. And he's going to get nailed one of these days if he's not careful. And I plastered him. Well, a lot of people misunderstood what I said. And then Blue Eyes Robot said, I was talking about how embarrassing for him because one of the people actually engaged on my behalf talking about the level of journalism on this broadcast, which is very, very high. But Blue Eyes said, no. I responded to him, his journalistic quality is well below the bar. And I got to say something about that. If the bar is the New York Times, which plainly got the Russia thing wrong, and the Washington Post, who got the Hunter laptop story wrong, and everybody in the journalism industry, except this broadcast, who got COVID-19 wrong, if that's the bar, they are well below this one, because I didn't make any of the mistakes those major news sources made. And I didn't make those mistakes because of basic journalism rules, double sourcing stories, not moving forward until you know what happened. And I do that every day here. And I report these stories honestly and fairly, and I always will. And so the mainstream media has abandoned the truth, chosen political sides, and is propagandist in nature. The Wells Report is factual in nature. And that's what journalism really is. And what I believe that Blue Eyes is talking about here is the fact that he has been so exposed to such horribly rotten journalism that he honestly can't recognize real stories told fairly, honestly, and truthfully when they're right in front of him. Now, I suspect he hasn't actually spent any time watching this broadcast. And I suggest that those people who do have a different understanding of what we do here. And so I wanted to respond to that because this obviously ignited furor around the country. And that furor was led by the press secretary of President Joe Biden today, who, before we knew the names of the people who lost their lives, before surgeries had actually been completed, before we knew what kind of weapon, what the actual, any mechanics of the actual shooting was or were, KJP, Karine Jean-Pierre, jumped behind the podium of the White House press office and said this.
We continue to call on Congress to do something, We need universal background checks. We need to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, require safe storage of firearms, invest in violence prevention programs, and pass a national red flag law. Enough is enough. And I cannot say this enough, which is enough is enough. We cannot allow this to happen in our communities.
Enough is enough. We can't say that enough. Enough is enough. So the word salad is on the menu somewhere in the Biden-Harris administration, and it's beginning to affect everyone. But that's another story for another day, isn't it? And so what she did is put the laundry list of anti-Second Amendment leftist agenda items out before the American people, before we know anything about the shooting. That is exactly what I was nailing Alex Cole with earlier today. And that's what I'm going to do with KJP right now. She may have more information than I do, but I don't think so. She is nourished by the same data that I'm nourished with, as far as I know, although there are FBI agents on the ground in Georgia. Maybe they reported some things that we don't know. Why didn't she say those things? No, she decided to play politics, which is her job, I guess. But her job is also to provide information to the press. And she didn't do that. What she did was she put this laundry list of anti-Second Amendment information and agenda items out there. When the real solution is to stop screwing around and start protecting our children. How do you get a weapon of any kind? Now, I don't know whether it was an AR-15 or some form of semi-automatic rifle or a pistol, and neither does anybody else. Well, the police do. The police know. But they haven't announced that yet. The story isn't complete yet. And the press conference that we just played you is the information that is official and on the record at this time. Anything else is either conjecture or supposition or outright guessing. If Karine Jean-Pierre has information revolving around the kind of weapon used, she should put that out there before she starts going into this screed. The objective of journalism is to provide fact, not politics. This is a perfect example of the propagandist media that we try to do something about on this broadcast. And we do successfully. Monday through Friday. Sometime during the day, because the show sort of moves around a little bit. But what doesn't move around a little bit are the ethics. Double sourcing stories. Following the actual narrative until there are facts. Then reporting the facts. Not reporting the narrative. Not reporting the supposition. Not reporting the guesses. Now, like I said, KJP may have more information than I do. But she doesn't have, and if she does have that information, she also has more information than ABC, CBS, CNN, NBC, Fox News, CNN, everybody. And that's what she should be putting out. And there also is a little bit of propriety in here somewhere, for gosh sakes. Literally, people haven't stopped bleeding yet. Can we wait for a moment before we start throwing this leftist agenda at people again? No. On this broadcast, we wait for the story. We wait until we have facts. Then we report the facts. That's what we do. Speaking of KJP, the President of the United States also weighed in. He issued a statement following the shooting. Jill and I are mourning the deaths of those whose lives were cut short due to more senseless gun violence, and thinking of all the survivors whose lives are forever changed. What should have been a joyous back-to-school season in Winder, Georgia, is now turned into another horrific reminder of how gun violence continues to tear our communities apart. Students across the country are learning how to duck and cover instead of how to read and write. We cannot continue to accept this as normal. I would say this, Mr. President, this isn't normal. Nobody accepts it as normal. The problem with it is we're not solving the problem. That is the issue. Obviously, we need metal detectors. Obviously, we need to have teachers that are willing to defend their children with deadly force when they are met with deadly force, and they need to know what the differences are between just vigilante justice in a school hallway somewhere and actually knowing what you're doing. That training is available. It's available through the Department of Homeland Security. Why isn't it given to the teachers? Well, not every teacher wants to carry a weapon. Okay, fine. Not every teacher wants to carry a weapon. That's fine. How about this? How about they have a first aid kit in their school office or in their desk? And how about they know how to use it? Apparently, there was a teacher that was shot in his upper abdomen, and the bleeding was profuse. We don't know whether this math teacher was one of the people that lost their lives. But I know what to do under those circumstances. You take gauze and a pencil will do, and you start stuffing that wound with gauze. And you keep pushing it in there, and you keep pushing it in there until the blood stops flowing. And it will, especially considering that there is gauze that is impregnated with clotting agents. It may not have saved the man's life if he even lost it. We don't know yet. But that's something that can be easily learned. I've learned it. I've actually learned it. And the teachers who do not want to get into a gunfight, nobody wants to get into a gunfight, but the teachers that are not willing to stand in the breach with a weapon and end one of these things need to be able to deal with the aftermath. You shouldn't be able to get into a school with a weapon. Where are the metal detectors? Where are they? Well, we don't want people to feel like they're walking into a prison. Okay, so build the metal detector into the door frame. Kids will barely notice. Have a school resource officer there watching the people coming in. Have other officers interdicting those that are carrying things that trigger the metal detector. Stop propping doors open because it's inconvenient to go find a key. What needs to happen is proactive prevention of these shootouts. There need to be people that teach our kids that are willing to defend them or to render aid to them. And that's what we don't have in these United States. No, we keep using it as a political opportunity to get rid of guns in this country, and that means the only people that have guns are arch criminals who don't care about law and the government. Australia is now under a situation where people get arrested for saying something. What happened to sticks and stones may break my bones. Whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to free speech? And the reason is because they can't defend themselves, because the only people in Australia that have weapons are the police. That's it. And they don't have to worry about anything. Not that I want them to worry about anything, but there is an implied respect. Around Texas, we say it this way: an armed society is a polite society. And it is. But what about the school shootings in Texas? Well, yeah, there have been school shootings in Texas, which is how I know that doors are propped open when keys are too hard to find. And how I know that a lot of people just simply do not prepare for the eventuality of somebody coming into a school and shooting it up here in Texas. But there have been people that tried that very same thing and ended up dead before they had a chance to create mayhem on the scale that we just saw and that we're seeing unfold before our eyes. For the agenda item of disarming the people of the United States who follow the law, for that, we don't protect our kids. I try not to attack people's motives on this broadcast, but it's kind of hard to see the rationale in the one that keeps getting presented to us. Protect these kids. Protect these kids. Allow the teachers to protect these kids as well as teach them. That's the way I see it. How about you? 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. Join us on the Wells Report. Tell us what you think. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to Low Cost Airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
This is the Wells Report. Our telephone number is 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. It's right there. It's right there. Let me turn. Yeah, it's right there. It's in the white middle line there. Call me and tell me what you think. You don't have to agree with me. I want to hear what you have to say. 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. And so, Donald Trump had something to say on this. Let me see if I can bring this. Let me see if I can bring this up. This is in one of those breaking news circumstances, and I'll go back through the top of those as soon as I find this particular circumstance where Donald Trump had something to say. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Former President Donald Trump addressed the Appalachia school shooting in social media today, using his platform to express his condolences to the Winder, Georgia community. On Truth Social, the Republican presidential nominee called the shooting, which killed at least 4 people and left at least 9 wounded, tragic. Quote, "Our hearts are with the victims and loved ones of those affected by the tragic event in Winder, Georgia. These cherished children were taken from us far too soon by a sick and deranged monster. It's true." That is a true statement. And it is tragic. And the man is this kid. He's going to be tried as an adult. He's 14. And yeah, sick and deranged pretty much calls it. These are live updates from Fox News. A Georgia sheriff called today's shooting at a high school that left 2 students and 2 teachers dead, along with 9 others wounded, an act of pure evil. Barrow County Sheriff Judge Smith addressed reporters after a gunman opened fire at Appalachia High School. "I never imagined that I would be speaking to the media about in my career over something that happened today. This is pure evil, that happened. My heart hurts for these kids. My heart hurts for this community. Cole Gray, 14 years of age, a student at the high school, was identified as the shooter. A school resource officer was able to get Gray to surrender moments after opening fire, thus saving lives, according to authorities. The teen was then taken into custody. Investigators are not sure how Gray brought the weapon on campus, how he obtained it. He was interviewed by authorities, and the sheriff said it did help our investigation. Investigators are trying to determine if anyone was specifically targeted, but they were not aware of any known connections between Gray and the victims. Authorities were looking into every aspect of that individual, his connection here and at the school. This, according to Chris Hosey. He's the director of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. The Barrow County school system will close all of its doors for the remainder of this week, said Dallas LaDuff. He's the county superintendent. LaDuff said the schools will be closed while the district cooperates fully with law enforcement. A vigil will be held tonight to remember the 4 people killed by a student at a Georgia high school hours earlier. The city of Winder, an hour from Atlanta, will hold the event at 7 p.m. Eastern Time at Jug Tavern Park. The remembrance comes hours after authorities said a 14-year-old teenager shot and killed 2 students and 2 teachers at Appalachia High School. The city of Winder will open Jug Tavern Park to the community tonight at 7 p.m. for a time to be together and grieve regarding the horrifying events that we saw today. This on the Facebook page of the city of Winder. Colt Gray surrendered to authorities moments after the shooting, which also wounded 9 people. The identities of the victims has not been yet discussed. There is something that just popped up here 43 seconds ago. Colt Gray, the alleged gunman who opened fire at Appalachia High School in Barrow County, Georgia, killed 4 people, injured at least 9 when he began shooting at innocent victims inside the school. At approximately 10:20, around 2 hours after classes had begun, the Barrow County Sheriff's Office responded to reports of an active shooter. Within minutes, law enforcement was on scene, as well as 2 school resource officers assigned at the school. Gray, a 14-year-old student, will be charged with murder and prosecuted as an adult. Local law enforcement is coordinating both the investigation and charges with District Attorney Brad Smith of the Piedmont Judicial Circuit. The priority is right now for us within this investigation to gather all the facts. This is a murder investigation. All right, that was 43 seconds ago, and that is the very latest that we have. As I said, we've got to start protecting our children. We have to start protecting our children. The politicians have been barking at each other over what are plain violations of the Second Amendment. Somebody from the left stands up and says, enough is enough is enough is enough. And that's enough. And you can't say enough. That was almost a direct quote from KJP today. And the other side says, no, we have a First Amendment, or we have a Second Amendment for a reason. The Second Amendment makes sure that the other amendments are actually followed by a government. The government's not out of control, says the left. Look around you. The government's out of control, says the right. If you're like me, and you stand with the Constitution, Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, all of the founding charters of this nation, the Federalist that explains them all, then you realize that, yeah, this government is way out of control. And COVID-19 proved it. And this willingness to play politics with our children's lives is actually the problem. We actually need to stop screwing around with all of this. Instead of worrying about which transgender kid might be thinking about doing themselves in, how about let's start thinking about the sick kids that are actually thinking about doing everybody in? Let's use some of that government money to put real honest-to-goodness metal detectors in the doorways of schools. Let's start training teachers on how to deal with deadly force incidents with deadly force. How about that? This is the Wells Report. We'll be back with more coming up in just a couple of moments, and your thoughts, by all means, share them with us. We need to know what you think on this broadcast. Whether you agree with me or not, or whether you think you agree or not, give us a call. Back in a moment.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship.
Call 877-655-6870. That's 877-655-6870. 877-655-6870.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
North to south, coast to coast, around the world. This is the Wells Report. On this broadcast, we report the news honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We point out both. We depropagandize the mainstream media. We do make commentary. Commentary is not news. Commentary is opinion, both yours and mine, equally valuable. So let's share them. Let's talk things over. Let's find more fact at the end of the broadcast than we did when we started. Together. News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. While I'm hanging on here, I'm going to figure out. Yeah. We're going to figure out here just exactly what's going on with the GBI. I am looking for any updates from the GBI on this, and so far there are not any. There is supposed to be another press conference coming up in just a couple of seconds, or in a while, and we will carry that live here on the Wells Report should it happen before the end of this hour. Now, elsewhere in the news, former President Donald Trump is returning to Pennsylvania for a town hall. That's going to happen tonight. It's something that you need to be aware of because of an interview not given by Donald Trump, but given by both Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, her running mate. That was an interview that was criticized because it was pre-taped. This town hall meeting that you're going to see with Sean Hannity tonight on Fox News, if you care to watch it, is also pre-taped, and that's not something that was not lost by ABC News. Check this out.
A pre-taped town hall with Trump is going to be airing on Fox News tonight. Any sneak peeks? What can we expect to hear from the former president?
Yeah, Marie, we're expected to hear the president expand more on his IVF plan. Of course, we heard him say last week that he wants to make it as accessible as possible to families by making it the costs associated with IVF to be covered by either the government or insurance companies. We're also expected for him to kind of explain why he's leaning to the center on these issues involving reproductive rights. We're also likely going to hear the former president talk about Kamala Harris taking very pointed attacks, and not just her, but her ticket. He's also expected to lob some attacks at Governor Tim Walz, her running mate, as we know from reporting in this pre-tape interview or town hall that he calls him weird at one point.
Yeah, so that's obviously big news. He calls somebody weird at one point. Okay, well, that's news, I guess. But that's CBS's take, and the reason that they brought that pre-tape thing up is because Kamala Harris was criticized for having a pre-taped interview with CNN. And it is fair and balanced and honest and truthful that we tell you that this town hall meeting is also edited, and perhaps edited rather, but certainly is not something that is off the cuff and live. Now, there will be questions being given by the audience in that. That's what town hall meetings are all about, assuming, of course, that Sean Hannity is able to hush long enough for people to ask these questions. It's just a little shot at Sean. Kidding, buddy. He watches, you know. Anyway, that being said, love you, Sean. Anyway, that being said, that's happening, and that's something that we needed to point out. So that town hall meeting will be tonight if you care to watch it. I thought I'd bring it up to you because Donald Trump is also in the news for another reason. and that's this. This from USA Today. A federal judge said that he will not take over decision-making in former President Donald Trump's New York hush money case and block his upcoming criminal sentencing. Trump wanted federal Manhattan Judge Alvin Hellerstein to take the hush money case out of state judge Juan Marchand's hand ahead of the September 18th sentencing date, claiming Marchand is biased and the federal court should rule that is on his argument for tossing out his conviction. The former president said the trial included evidence that ran afoul of the Supreme Court's July 1st presidential immunity ruling, which limited prosecutions involving official presidential acts. However, Hellerstein said that the arguments about a state judge's bias in a trial should be handled by state appeals courts, not a federal court. And then he said this. He also said it would not be appropriate to let Trump move the case to federal court at this stage because Trump was not prosecuted for any official acts, which, according to this federal judge, obviates the Supreme Court decision that grants immunity to presidents for their official acts. This particular federal judge believes that Donald Trump was not acting officially during this hush money trial. Now, what's going to happen with the hush money trial? No one knows. I suspect it's going to be tossed by the New York appeals courts at some point, but that's not now. That is sometime in the future. And now, these convictions do indeed rest on the shoulders of Donald Trump. And that does carry the statement that he is a convicted felon, at least in New York. And so these are things that are important. Hellerstein pointed to a ruling he issued before Trump's trial during an earlier Trump federal court bid that hush money paid to a porn star is not related to a president's official acts. Quote, "Nothing in the Supreme Court's opinion affects my previous conclusion that hush money payments were private, unofficial acts outside the bounds of executive authority." Trump appealed Hellerstein's ruling within hours. He posted on Truth Social that he is fighting the greatest political witch hunt in history, and the court system is corrupt. He also complained about the limited gag order that restricts his comments about prosecutors and the judge's family members until sentencing. Now, that has to do with the fact that indeed the daughter of Juan Marchand is a Democrat operative who has raised money based on his father's handling of this case. That is not something that's open to conjecture. That is the news. And yes, they say that Trump was found guilty May 30th on 34 separate felony counts of falsifying business records as part of a conspiracy to unlawfully interfere in the 2016 election. Prosecutors argue that Trump broke the law in his efforts to prevent American voters from learning about porn star Stormy Daniels' allegation, which Trump denies that she had sex with the real estate mogul in 2006. Okay. That statement brings up something that I feel that I must point out. It's as follows. Prosecutors are saying that Trump broke the law in his efforts to prevent American voters from learning about porn star Stormy Daniels' allegation. Really? How did that happen? First of all, everybody knew about Stormy Daniels' allegations all over the place, for crying out loud. Second, this is 2024. This supposed event, this alleged event, happened in 2006. That's a long time ago. Why did it come up? Now, that's a matter for conjecture. I would say that it probably came up because Donald Trump was too big a political threat to too many people. That's what I would say. And that ignited lawfare, and it also ignited something else. There was a documented effort on the part of the FBI and intelligence agencies and intelligence officers to suppress Hunter Biden's laptop. And there are people who say that they would have changed their vote had they known about it before the election. Is that not election interference? Is that not election interference? There were messes in the backgrounds of presidents going back as far as you want to go. John Kennedy. Okay, Bill Clinton. They actually had a bimbo eruption squad whose job was to hush all of these people that were coming out of the woodwork. I know, I interviewed 3 of them. Jennifer Flowers, Juanita Broderick, and the other one. Anyway, I interviewed these people. And they were very, very circumspect in their answerings because of something that Jennifer Flowers called the FOB. What is the FOB? Friends of Bill. Friends of Bill. So in other words, this is not, by the way, a whataboutism statement. This is just a statement of fact. Again, this is news. And so why is it that it's okay for the government, called the deep state, some parts of the government called the deep state, why is it that they're in a position where they can hide things detrimental to their candidate's political future? And something that happened in 2006, and what was that? That's close to 2 marriages ago for Donald Trump. Why is that suddenly the most important thing that we can possibly discuss? This gives rise to the two-tier legal system. It is political prosecution, political persecution. And it's farcical. Everybody knows, everyone knows about these particular peccadillos of particular presidents. My, that was a nice alliteration. And so Donald Trump has some of this in his past. He was a raconteur. He was a man about town. He was the prince of the city. He was wild and crazy. And yeah, that kind of haunts him, doesn't it? Well, that's because he wasn't Mitt Romney. In order for them to find something to nail Mitt Romney with when he ran against President Obama in 2012, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, 2012, I got it right. I made a mistake by thinking I made a mistake. They had to go back to a fracas in high school to find something to nail Mitt Romney with. Mitt Romney lived his whole life pure as the driven snow. He was the perfect presidential candidate. He hadn't made any mistakes. He was well-spoken. He was well-educated. He was well-qualified to be the president of the United States. The Republican Party said, by golly, we have our guy. And he got drubbed in the 2012 election. And the reason is because Mitt Romney isn't real. Real people make big mistakes. That's what happens. Say what you want about Tim Walz. I have real problems with his military ethics. Real problems. But that being said, that's a real guy who does real guy stuff. Donald Trump is a real guy who does real guy stuff. And dare I say that Kamala Harris is a real woman who does real woman stuff. And I have said to all of it the same exact thing. What happens between consenting adults in private is none of our business. Whether it happened during a marriage with Donald Trump or not, that is a family matter and equally none of our business. I don't care who Kamala Harris dated when she was coming up in the political ranks. I don't care what her circumstances were from a standpoint of consenting adults behind closed doors. It's none of our business. We're not electing the mayor or the mayorette of Boys Town. We're not electing the Pope. We're electing a president of the United States. Someone with clear eyes. Someone with experiences. Someone that knows how to be a human being. Someone that knows how to be an American. And yeah, somebody that knows how to be a politician. Sort that out as you will. But none of this has anything to do with it. And indeed, what it has done is it has created a mess in federal law. And as we just talked about, in state law in New York. And those have real implications. Because if the law of this land is nothing more than a political tool, God help us all. No member of any political party is going to be safe from it, even those who, quote, win. This is the Wells Report.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. I just checked the Georgia Bureau of Investigation X site. They invited us to do that during a press conference earlier today to find out more information. So far, nothing. And I'm going to check out to see whether or not they've said anything. Let's go to CNN and see what they said. It doesn't say anything about whether or not there's going to be another press conference. They said there was going to be one sometime this evening, and we're watching for it. As soon as it pops up, we will put it on the air here on the Wells Report, which, by the way, is a news broadcast. Yes, we make commentary, but the commentary is an invitation for you to make commentary and tell us what you think about the news. That's what I want to know. That's what I'm looking for here. I'm looking for your thoughts. 817-379-2172. Then there's this. A suspicious incident at the Republican National Committee offices in West Palm Beach, Florida. It happened last week. Employees evacuated the building. Police in the Florida city where the RNC and former President Donald Trump have offices, West Palm Beach, said there were mysterious noises coming from under the desks. Weird, awful chirping sounds and scraping sounds. What were they? What was it? Employees at the time worried that the gadgets that they found under their desks were listening devices. Out of caution, police say 50 people were evacuated. Turned out the equipment was a different kind of bug. Not bugs that listen, but bugs that actually do chirp and make weird noises. They are designed to annoy your coworker. Yeah, they're plastic noisemakers. They're available on Amazon. According to local law enforcement, they beep, scratch, or make a cricket sound at random intervals of 5 to 25 minutes. It's a good April Fool's Day prank for your friend or coworker. Fears of more malicious intentions were not unfounded, though. The FBI confirmed last month in their investigation into potential Iranian cyber agents breaching the Trump campaign's online operations and those of the opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris. It was something that they have been looking for that's the FBI investigating. And yeah, there's an awful lot of very high charged emotional things running around this particular election. And when you see something or hear something, what do? You say something. That's what you do. Police were called. Couldn't figure out what these things were. But yeah, when you start thinking about just where we find ourselves in this political climate, it's overheated. It's overheated by design. And it's quite literally, as I said yesterday on the broadcast, it's driving us all crazy. I know I've said this over and over that America loses its mind every 4 years when we go about the idea of electing another president. But the mud being flung back and forth is historic. It's absolutely historic. Some of it carries a lot of weight. Some of it absolutely does not. But the idea that someone would play an April Fool's prank on Donald Trump isn't necessarily that funny under this charged atmosphere, don't you think? 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. This is the Wells Report. If you happen to be new to it, first of all, welcome. Welcome. Yeah, we do a lot of good work here. And we invite you to help us with it. And I certainly hope you do. Call us on the telephone, 817-379-2172, 817-379-2172. You can do that, by the way, while I'm doing a segment. Don't worry about interrupting, but I do like you to try to stick to the subject we're discussing. 817-379-2172. I'll put you right on the air. And yeah, if you disagree, all I ask is that you be respectful and civil so that we can have a discussion so that I can find out what you think. And then we'll debate a little bit. It'll be friendly, as long as you keep it friendly, because I'm a friendly guy. This is the Wells Report. Back in just a moment.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Stop me when this seems familiar. Oh my. The Biden administration, this from Fox News, it's biased. We point that out. The Biden administration today accused Russia of trying to influence the 2024 U.S. presidential election by targeting American voters through state-run media and other online platforms as a part of a campaign referred to as Doppelganger. Attorney General Merrick Garland has seen fit. He has deigned to present himself and this indictment against these Russians. And this is what he had to say as he explained this indictment. I don't know what's going to happen to it. These are Russian nationals, and he's basically indicting Russia for taking part in free speech That's the way it looks to me right now. That's just an opinion, but you see for yourself. This is Merrick Garland earlier today.
This morning, we unsealed an indictment in the Southern District of New York of Konstantin Kalashnikov and Elena Afanasieva, two Russian-based employees of RT, a Russian state-controlled media outlet. They are charged with conspiring to commit money laundering and to violate the Foreign Agents Registration Act. That law, enacted nearly a century ago, was enacted to ensure that the American people were informed when a foreign power engages in political activities or seeks to influence public discourse. The American people are entitled to know when a foreign power is attempting to exploit our country's free exchange of ideas in order to send around its own propaganda. The company never disclosed to the...
Oops.
I'm sorry.
Pages stuck together.
And that is what we alleged happened in this case. In the wake of Russia's brutal invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, RT, which was then known as Russia Today, was dropped by its American distributors. The company ceased its formal operations in the United States, and the European Union, the UK, and Canada banned RT's broadcasting. But as RT itself has boasted, the government of Russia continued to use RT to direct disinformation and propaganda. In the wake of Russia's brutal invasion of Ukraine, RT's editor-in-chief said the company had built, quote, an entire empire of covert projects designed to shape public opinion in Western audiences. We allege that as part of that effort, RT and its employees, including the defendants, implemented a nearly $10 million scheme to fund and direct a Tennessee-based company to publish and disseminate content deemed favorable to the Russian government. To implement this scheme, the defendants directed the company to contract with US-based social media influencers to share this content on their platforms. The subject matter and content of many of the videos published by the company were often consistent with Russia's interest in amplifying US domestic divisions in order to weaken US opposition to core Russian interests, particularly its ongoing war in Ukraine. The company never disclosed to the influencers or to their millions of followers its ties to RT and the Russian government. Instead, the defendants and the company claimed that the company was sponsored by a private investor. But that private investor was a fictitious persona. The charges unsealed this morning do not represent the end of the investigation. It remains active and ongoing.
And so that was Merrick Garland with a very thorny problem. Now, the DOJ in this particular case is doing what it should do. It is indeed finding foreign actors interfering with American discourse regarding our elections. That is something that is worldwide. Countries do not typically interfere in the politics of other countries, especially during election times. And the DOJ is essentially doing that. And that's fine. I don't have any problem with that. That's why the court system will hear the case and will determine whether these people are guilty or not. And if indeed they end up being thrown in jail, the propaganda of Russia will say, okay, then we can keep popping American citizens in our country for whatever we think they're guilty of. But that's another story for another day. No, the thorny proposition is this. If you go back through all of this, and we have a lot of it here, if you go back through this statement, you can find that not only did RT, which at one time was a news organization, biased, propagandist, but a news organization reveling in the free speech rights of the First Amendment like everybody else in the nation. Well, there are other entities involved in that very same practice. Let me give you an idea of what I'm talking about. This is part of the statement that you just heard. We allege, as part of that effort, CNN and its employees, including the defendants, implemented a nearly $10 million scheme to fund and direct an Atlanta-based company to publish and disseminate content seemed favorable to the Biden administration. To implement this scheme, the defendants directed CNN to contract with U.S.-based social media influencers to share this content and their platforms. The subject matter and content of many of the videos published by the Washington Post were often consistent with NBC News' interest in amplifying U.S. domestic divisions in order to weaken U.S. opposition to core media interests, particularly with its ongoing war against anything that isn't the Democrat Party and the leftist agenda. See what I just did there? The thing is that $10 million is nothing to CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, The Washington Post, The New York Times, and selected other publications. In other words, we're going after Russia Today, which ostensibly is a news organization that's biased and propagandist. Like ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, all these other newspapers that I just mentioned. This is what happens during an American election year. People say the stupidest things. They get into arguments that are pointless. We discuss it here on the broadcast by saying it's a political grenade where fragments fly through the air and stick on various people for various reasons, wounding them. And a lot of those are just essentially fluff, silliness, doesn't have anything to do with anything. Before you know it, you're talking about little boxes under desks that make chirping noises every 25 minutes. But what Merrick Garland is talking about is what the mainstream media of this country does every single day. Are they being indicted? Oh, no. No. Because the mainstream media is decidedly left. And for good reason, and it's okay with me, the Biden administration is decidedly left. Merrick Garland is a political appointee. He is decidedly left. But the DOJ, the Department of Justice, is not a political tool to be wielded for the convenience of the sitting government. And that doesn't make any difference. I'm not talking about the Democrat Party. I'm talking about the Democrat Party, the Republican Party, politics in general, liberals, progressives, right-wing fanatics. I'm talking about all of it. And yeah, there's disinformation out there. There is disinformation out there. And what do we, the people, do about it? Do we depend on our government to run these people to earth, to stomp on them and to throw them in jail? As long as they're not the actual organizations that are doing the lion's share of trying to influence American thought for the sake of politics? Sure, that's what we do. But Russia Today is doing exactly what every other American mainstream outlet is doing. And someone needs to tell you this, so here I am. The DOJ is not going to go after these people, but that hasn't always been the case. You're going, what? What? You mean the mainstream media used to be regulated by the government? Yep. Yeah, there used to be an organization called the FCC. And the FCC mandated that everyone reporting news do exactly what we do every day on this broadcast. We differentiate between news and opinion. On this broadcast, it's easy. This is news. This is opinion. Now, if I'm on the news camera and I come up with an opinion in the middle of a news story and I say something, I say, well, this is my opinion. So you know the difference between news and opinion. Russia Today isn't doing anything any different than any other mainstream American media outlet. And it doesn't make any difference whether it's Fox News or CNN. Let's just take two that are easily explained. Fox is right-wing conservative. CNN is left-wing liberal. And they will tell the story they believe you should hear from them. Russia Today is doing the same thing. Well, what about the money laundering that's mentioned in this indictment? Okay, money laundering. What money did they launder? Yeah, they took money from Russia and they created this fictitious person to be able to use the money in some legal way in the United States, and they got popped for it. Okay, what does CNN do with its budget? What does NBC do with its budget? Well, a lot of its budget goes to a rank propagandist outfit called MSNBC, where news is nothing more than a lever to push leftist buttons. And it doesn't even have to be true. The FCC would say, you know, you can't lie when you're reporting the news. But that doesn't exist anymore, thanks to the Telecommunications Act of 1996, signed by President Bill Clinton, which deregulated all of this news. Now, Ronald Reagan was famous for deregulation. True. He started the process of deregulating broadcasting. And I was in the broadcasting industry when it happened. I could violate any number of FCC regulations and be sent a letter, notice of apparent violation, and they would cancel my broadcasting license. I had to have a license to be on the air where all of these rules were carefully explained and they were tested. You had to go to, I went to Long Beach, you had to go to an FCC office, sit down for an exam, and you had to get everything right. And then they gave you a license. Mine was a third class with broadcast endorsement. And so what I did was I was able to broadcast as a public trustee, operating in the public interest. That doesn't exist anymore. There was also something else called the Fairness Doctrine, where you invited other people who might disagree to speak their piece on your air. I do that every day, several times every day. But why? Because I believe in those regulations. Cast aside because they, I don't know, they just were too big of a pain in the butt. Yeah, the pain in the butt for the broadcasters. And so they got rid of them with their lobbying efforts. And now we have this miasmic mess of people spouting at length against the gods, and sometimes against reality, and sometimes against good sense. And they do it every single day. And it's hypocritical. And it's misleading. And yes, it's disinformation. Why do I do what I do? Because I disagree. That's why. I believe you need fact. I believe you need news. Will I tell you what I think about it? Sure. But I'll do it here. Not here. Facts here. Opinions here. And the check and balance, if you disagree, the Fairness Doctrine, join me right now, 817-379-2172, and tell me why I'm full of it. If you choose to. This is the Wells Report.
Vallarta.
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Our telephone number 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. And so we just checked the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. They are taking the lead on this investigation of a shooting, a tragic loss of life, again, at another American school. This one, a high school in Winder, Georgia. You're saying, isn't that pronounced Winder? No, it's Winder. Winder, Georgia. And so, let me go back and check this real fast to see if anything has changed. And nothing has. I would like to know a few things. I would ask a few questions. I'd like to know what weapon was used. We don't know. We do know 2 teachers and 2 students have died. I'd like to know a little bit more about this Colt Gray. I'd like to know how a 14-year-old gets any weapon, let alone one that he can take to school. I'd like to know how come they're not metal detectors around every doorway in every school in the United States of America. They're not that expensive. They're not. And I'd also like to know how come our political establishment has not solved this problem. Seemingly, they'd rather have the political argument than actually solve the problem. I know how we need to solve the problem. We need to get everybody to turn in their guns to the government. No. That's not the United States of America. That's not how we do business, and we know that because of the founding documents of this nation. When the citizen returns in its weapons to the government, the only people that have weapons are criminals and the government. That's not the society we want to live in. Instead of arguing, we need to find a way to protect our kids. We have people who are teaching every single day who love children and want to see them grow intellectually. How about let's let them grow to adulthood by those who are willing to train themselves on how to deal with a deadly force incident with deadly force if need be. This training is not difficult. What stops it? Those are people, there are teachers there that don't want to carry weapons. Fine, carry a first aid kit. Become an EMT. How come we don't do that? Why don't we have some kind of emergency medical training for our teachers? Why don't we do that? Well, let's go back to the core of it all. At the risk of sounding partisan, not only is the legacy media a left-wing propaganda mill, but those people who run the nation's schools run what is obviously a socialist endeavor to train/indoctrinate our kids. And that's not what school is for. School is not a place of politics. School is a place of learning. So why aren't they being taught the things they need to learn as opposed to different ways of having sex, thanks to the school library and the books they choose, while arch people say, my God, they're burning books. We're not burning books. We're just keeping pornography out of the school library. That does make sense, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. So the schools are leftist. What do leftists want? They want everybody to turn in their weapons. Is that why we don't have metal detectors on the doors of every school in the United States? Is that why? Seems like. We can have the United States of America, the Second Amendment, and all the things that have made this the greatest nation in the history of the human endeavor. There are ways to put all this together. But first, you have to identify the people who don't want it put together, who have another agenda. We don't care how many kids we kill as long as we get every single weapon in the United States. Well, that's not ever going to happen because the Army is going to be carrying real weapons of war. And who will they be pointed at? Well, in the case of the January 6th aftermath, the 26,000 National Guard soldiers carrying real weapons of war were pointing them at us. That's what we call a clue. Metal detectors. Teachers trained in deadly force. Protection of our children. That's what needs to happen. Instead of, let's change the entire country into a leftist, socialist political playground where the people can't defend themselves from our policies. That's not America. And God willing, it never will be. If you find value in this broadcast, tell your friends about it. Join us again tomorrow between 5 and 7 p.m. Central Time, and we'll have more news reported honestly and fairly. We will have analysis. We will depropagandize. And we will debate. Monday through Friday on this broadcast called The Wells Report. I'll look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Until then, be safe. By all means, make good decisions. And I'll see you tomorrow.